All right, let's talk trading card games. Most of the time, it's all about one thing, right? Hitting your opponent until their life points drop to zero. But what if the real battle wasn't about life points at all? What if it was about options? Today, we're jumping into Hexaverse, a game where you win by making your opponent run out of everything.
Seriously, just forget everything you know about chipping away at a health bar. Hexaverse is built around this single, super fascinating question. What if the goal wasn't to damage your opponent's health, but to completely drain their resources? Just that one change creates a totally different way of thinking about strategy.
So the number one goal in Hexaverse is to deck out your opponent. That means you're not playing for one massive game-ending attack. Nope, you're playing a game of patience, of resource management. You're trying to completely outlast the person across from you.
And here's the twist. 3. That is the magic number. You don't just have to deck them out once. To actually claim victory, you need to do it 3 separate times. So, what exactly does a deck out even look like?
Okay, here's how the game's loop works. When your opponent tries to draw from an empty deck, that's it. That's one deck out for you. But the game doesn't end. They level up, and their entire discard pile, what's called the recycle zone, gets shuffled back to create a whole new deck. The battle literally resets, but now you're one step closer to that final, third victory.
So, how do you actually force that deck out? Well, to get there, you've got 3 different types of cards you can use. You can think of them as the core building blocks for any strategy you want to cook up.
First up, we've got characters. These are your soldiers, your main fighters on the battlefield. They stick around to attack and defend. Next are boosts, which are basically upgrades or equipment you can attach to your characters to make them stronger. And finally, you have actions. These are your one-shot spells. They create immediate, sometimes game-changing effects, and then they go to your recycle zone. And where do all these cards go? Well, the battlefield keeps it nice and clean. Built on that magic number again, you have 3 character zones. That means you can have a maximum of 3 fighters on your side, and each one of them can be powered up with, you guessed it, up to 3 boost cards. It's all about the 3s.
Now that we know all the pieces, let's look at how they move. The game plays out in a really simple, repeating sequence of phases that make up every single turn.
Every turn kicks off with the draw phase, where you draw 1 card, unless you're the first player who skips it to keep things balanced. Then comes the main phase. This is the heart of your turn, where you play all your cards. After that is the battle phase, where your characters get to attack. And again, the first player skips this to prevent an early rush. Finally, the end phase is just for cleanup before you pass the turn.
This right here, this is the central tension of the entire game. Your deck isn't just a pile of cards, it's your stamina bar. Every card you draw gives you more power, sure, but it also takes you one step closer to decking yourself out. Mastering that balance between power and risk is mastering Hexaverse.
So you know the rules, but how do you actually win? Well, Hexaverse offers a ton of strategic depth with all its different archetypes. Let's take a look at a few distinct ways to play. On one hand, you could play something like Blaze Beatdown. This is pure aggression. Get powerful characters on the board fast and just keep attacking. On the other hand, you've got a combo deck like Crimson Symphony. Here, the plan is way more intricate. You need to get a key card, Crimson Jukebox, on the field, and then build up this massive, unbeatable board for one spectacular finishing blow. And the strategies get even more creative. The Horizon Inc. deck can just ignore the main objective entirely. It aims to assemble 3 specific VTL boost cards, and if it does, it gets an instant alternate victory. Then there's something like L8 Operation, a control deck that focuses on disruption. It makes your opponent discard cards and can even force them to dump cards directly from their deck, basically fast-forwarding them to a deck out.
So let's just recap the essentials real quick. Your goal? Deck out your opponent 3 times. Your tools? Characters, boosts, and actions. You make your plan happen through the 4 phases of a turn. And your strategy? Well, that can be anything from straightforward beatdown to a complex alternate win condition.
And that's our quick intro. Now that you've got the fundamentals down, the only question left is, which path are you going to choose? Are you going to be the aggressive player, the patient combo master, or the disruptive controller? The choice is yours.